Hello, everyone. Irini again connecting with you in this day of spring. Now we have sun, but it rained quite a lot this morning. And behind me, you see an image from my garden. It's a beautiful tree, an apple tree that starts to blossom. It's the last one of the fruit trees I have that blossoms now in spring. And I'm so happy. I feel like a little blossom too. And today I think I will speak about several things, but they all somehow resume to one topic, that is hidden patterns we carry with us inside our psyche, inside our body, inside our mind, and emotions, and so on. And this topic keeps coming and coming in several discussions or posts I have or I see around me. And one discussion I had, I think, on Facebook was because someone posted something that for me it was and not sure if an affirmation, but I think it's almost a belief of certain people, or maybe many people, that therapy is not for everyone, and not everyone is wants or needs therapy. And this relates to other comments I even saw in the past from people working in personal development area that were recommending coaching rather than therapy, like a form to support other people. And lately also I was looking to offerings that and trainings that are nowadays so they came like mushrooms after rain. By the way, we had some rain today. It's impressive how many coaching trainings are offered as therapy. Or actually, in the title, you can read coaching therapy, something. What kind of coaching? I don't know. Different types of coaching. And from my own experience with therapy and also with some coaching, I think this is very confusing for people, and that's why then some people will assess that I would rather go to a coach than to a therapist. Therapy is not for me. I don't have any issue to discuss in therapy. Why should I go there, right? Or maybe most of the people have already this idea that is somehow preconceived because in many cases is not related with reality. That you only go to therapist if you went through a big shock, like a, I don't know, divorce or loss of a person, or you had a difficult experience and a challenge with your health and so on. Or maybe you are in a burnout, or you are going through depression, or you need to go because you got a label in form of a diagnosis and so on for your mental state, for example. And that is not true. It is not true, and when I say this, I'm deeply convinced it is not, and you cannot convince me of the opposite. Because this is something that relies on many years of experiencing therapy, different form of therapies, psychotherapy, and also other types of therapy working more into the body and nervous system and so on. And I strongly believe that therapy in the times we live and in a society that is heavily traumatized and accepts trauma and survival strategies as a normalized fact, as a normalized way of living, we all, as members of the society, should be able to have access to different forms of therapy, and of course choose those that are mostly suitable for our situation and for what we are looking for. And I'm saying this not to offend or to contradict anyone, but because I feel this, I know this, I experience this. And I also experienced coaching, and I saw many coaches actually going through burnout and from a place of extreme success and popularity going to the opposite, into deep depression and, yeah, similar situations. So at a certain point, they eventually would also need therapy, right? Probably they access therapy if they were in need, for sure, if this happened that they went into that extreme. But there is a very simple reason for why I say this. Because with coaching tools, at least from the coaching programs and methods I had access to, or I see nowadays being sold in programs and trainings, with the coaching tools, you mostly can work on your mindset. And a lot of the coaching approaches are focused on the mind and the performance and how you structure your own framework in terms of tools, in terms of skills, and so on. But most of these coaching programs, they don't teach you about the hidden patterns. And when I speak about the hidden patterns, I speak about trauma, and I speak about survival strategies, and I speak about behaviors, beliefs, even about the concept of identity that are affected and distorted by trauma. Because trauma is everywhere and is inside everyone. Nobody is safe. And there are different degrees of traumatization. There are different types of biography of trauma. But no one can claim, I am not traumatized, because you are. We all are, to a certain degree. Some more, some less. That depends a lot of the culture you grew up, the type of family you grew up, the type of adverse childhood experience you had, the type of upbringing you had, and so on. And the hidden patterns is not something that coaching can help with this. Yes, you might do some exercise of exploration. You can try to do mapping of your thoughts, beliefs, and so on. You can do the pizza of life, which is quite well known in this field. I myself use it sometimes in my trainings, and it's fun to use it. But you cannot pretend to understand, to acknowledge, to accept them only using your mental endowment, meaning the way you approach, you perceive, and you dissect life and its happenings. It's not a mental process. It is a psychological, emotional, and energetic process that can go through these hidden patterns. And you need specific tools. And for me, one of the best tools I ever had access to, and I stick with it because I saw the effectiveness of it, is systemic constellation or family constellation if you want to work only with your family system. But with systemic constellation, you can work with groups, with associations, with work environments, health issues, and so on. So when I speak about the hidden patterns, I speak about something that we carry inside and we are not aware in a conscious way. So with the mind, we cannot go there because they will not be available only to the mind, or it's like you will only surf on the surface of the water, not go into depth. The hidden patterns, most of the times, we create them in the subconscious. And first it happens because of the split in the psyche, so it's psychotrauma that generates them. and then the body, and the whole complex assets we have around us, starting with family members, the culture, the educational and health system that we access, and so on, and even the economical and cultural ones. All these assets that belong to our environment, they contribute to these hidden patterns. Somehow they also relate to the epigenetical changes that our body, our cells are going through, even very early in our life, from conception, but also to those epigenetic changes that are even more hidden that our lineage, our ancestor went through, and that they are transmitted to us, right? Through our DNA, to our mitochondria, through our own experiences since early time, as I said. In these hidden patterns, what is the most important things that you need to know about them is that they are governing your life and even your decisions, the way you behave and you relate and you live your life in general, from the subconscious, from the place that is called implicit memory, that are the 80% of the iceberg that you don't see among your life experiences. So how do you think that when only with coaching you can get into these hidden patterns? Are you going to do a mirroring exercise or what? You need something that goes deeper, and you need something where you cannot pretend anymore. You have to really face what is there inside of you. And I was already working with systemic constellation, with family constellation for a while when I got into trauma therapy. And what I can say again from my own perspective is that this changed a lot in my life. It changed the way I see myself. I got a new understanding of all the illusions and sandcastles I built over my life since very young. And ultimately, slowly, I saw progress when I started to understand I'm getting out of survival strategies I also built for myself, because this trauma therapy, and in specific, the method I work and I studied is IOPT, or intention method, identity-oriented psychotrauma therapy. This method helped me unbury, bring to light those hidden patterns, and understand how they were instrumental in constructing an identity and a path in life that were not even 100% mine. Many were taken from models I saw around me, and not all the time the models were healthy ones. So yes, everyone can have access to therapy. And I would also advise, if you never tried, do some trauma therapy. If you feel that you carry some hidden patterns that are negative and that are still very much present in your life. Because trauma therapy and even family constellation, that is not therapy. So don't think that someone who presents as a therapist of family constellation, who introducing himself or herself as such, isn't the right, because family constellation is not therapy. Family constellation can help you see the hidden patterns and dynamics of your life, but it needs to be complemented by real therapy if you want to integrate the whole process. That is a misunderstanding on the terminology and role of a facilitator in family constellation. And I've already said and spoke about it, and I'll say it again. A facilitator of systemic constellation is not a therapist. The same way a coach is not a therapist, because I see also programs sold as coaching therapy. No way. Therapy is therapy. Coaching is coaching. You can approach them both and try to see a situation from different perspectives, but they are not the same, because they have different types of approach to the situation, different methods, different structure, and they also need a different type of experience. And of course, someone can have both trainings and can combine them, but don't pretend to do in one training also therapy if you do coaching, because in this case, I'm afraid it will be really like putting together apples and plums, for example, and pretending that the result of it is it's the same as if you would only use apples or only plums. And getting back to the therapy part, therapy is an individual process. And it has to be as such because it has a certain complexity and it brings up a lot of vulnerability in the one that is under therapy. And in certain cases, many people are not comfortable to expose themselves and to really start to connect with these hidden patterns and to accept them, to acknowledge and then accept and then integrate the whole experience. It's not comfortable to do it in a group setting because we often in constellation we work with representatives to understand the energies that are in the field and the relationships or the entanglements and to suggest a path into resolution or an opening for an energy to move, to be unblocked. Yeah, we often do it in family constellation. We do it with a group. But the individual setting is a must when you work in therapy. You can have a group for therapy, of course. But from my own experience, the best advancement or progress I always felt was when I had a series of processes led by a therapist. And it was only me and that person that were supervising the process for me. A person that I would trust that has knowledge, skill, and practice. And of course, we are not all the same. We can privilege coaching if we want. We can privilege therapy. But if you want to really reconnect in a deeper way and bring back the sense of who you truly are, not the one that others told you to be, or the one that you thought you can be because of all these hidden patterns and experiences, then make a choice, make it informed. And of course, the first choice is you. But always look into the depth of things. Look into what kind of healing also you want to achieve. What kind of fullness or wholeness. Because not all tools, not all paths will lead you towards this. And try to not be confused, because the world is already living in much confusion. And all this variety of options we have nowadays, coaching, therapy, supervision, retreats, workshops, processing, and so on, can be overwhelming. And it can make you wonder, why should I choose this, or what is the best for me? If you want to build a healthy identity and to get out of survival mechanisms and patterns that govern from the hidden of your subconscious, your life, my suggestion, go and do some trauma therapy. And then you can do as much as coaching as you want, because then you will be ready to create your own structure on a more stable ground, on a ground that is not shaking and is not how to say, made of sand only. A stable ground where you know your roots. And you worked on achieving this stability from inside. So you can take my advice or no, but if you hear coaching therapy, think twice. Therapy is therapy, simple. And especially if you are a coach and you never had access to therapy, try it. I can tell you, it can make a difference in the way you do coaching, because it made a difference in the way I supervise other people, knowing how to supervise myself, how to lead myself from the hidden into the light. And probably I will not be here to tell you this. For some, I know it can be triggering if I wouldn't have done this work before. And yes, before I end, I just want to announce that I'm planning now an upgrade in my offerings. So I've been working for more than 15 years with myself in different modalities. And more than 10 years, I was on this path of serving others. And of course, my niche is always women and womb carriers, as the focus is a lot on the womb reality and womb trauma, my specialization. But now I feel, after all these years and more than 150 workshops and events I organized, or lectures I gave, and different projects I made with many people from the world, I feel I'm ready to go on the level where I support facilitators to understand and release the hidden patterns, especially those who are negative. And so I'm working now. I already created an ebook, and I will have a landing page where you can read a little bit more about this training. I created an ebook as an invitation for the training that summarizes a little bit the intention and the topics I want to approach. It is for any facilitator, doesn't matter your degree of experience or age. But the original part of this training, that probably if it starts will be after summer, is that I don't teach you how to facilitate, because I suppose that if you started to facilitate something, a workshop or a women's circle or a men's circle or a small retreat or a bigger retreat, you already know something about facilitation. And maybe you already had some trainings about it. This training is different because, as I said, it helps you see the hidden patterns in yourself as a human being and as a facilitator. But then we are going to access and see how it works, this facilitating or facilitated field. And I don't want to give a lot of information right now about this. It will be available soon. You can always connect with me and ask about more information. But this training will bring you a different perspective in the way you facilitate and how you relate with this field. Because the relationship you build with the field and the ability to see the hidden patterns in yourself, in the others, in the way you interact with others, and so on, it is something that you can build up through practice. And it is a training that, although it's quite short, because for the moment it will be a pilot project of 3 months, and it will be highly experiential. So there will be live sessions with very little theory, more exercises, and then supervision groups. And you also have access to a half-an-hour mentorship session with me as an individual session beyond the group sessions. For 3 months, we are going to navigate this field and these patterns together in a group. And I want to keep it an intimate group from minimum 4 to up maximum 12 people. So we get to know each other, we get to know the field of each other and the bigger or the wider field that we're all part of. And I can promise you it will be fun. It will be also challenging. And for sure, it will teach you many things about yourself. And probably during the training, you will have aha moments that you might want to explore also in therapy sessions further on with me or other people. So this is a training of 3 months that if I start it, I am inquiring now to see if there is interest. It starts after summer and it will be something different for sure. I hope all this information serves you, and I hope you are ready for an upgrade. I am. I feel I already saw enough. I already observed enough. I was on a fence for a while due to some life circumstances, but now I'm back full engine, and I'm very eager to support those who want to be supported and go into the hidden. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel to support and to have notification about future contents. And have a nice day or weekend ahead. Bye.